Hey gamers, I got a big one for you. Today we're going to review Empires: Age of Discovery. Let's check it out. Now, setup for this massive looking board game is actually really easy. What you're going to do is you're going to take the drawstring bag of goods that they provide you in this beautiful bag here. You're going to take out randomly and select four goods to put here. You're going to put a little trade ship here, and these trade ships look they're beautifully sculptured and they are wonderful plastic. I mean, the components in this are just top notch here. But you're going to put one there. You're going to randomly shuffle all of the tiles for the first age and put some of those buildings out here. You're going to put a little round tracker here. It's just a ship, just the same thing as that is, but it's going to track the rounds through all three ages. And then of course you're going to put little colonists here in the initiative order track, and that's just to show you who's going first and who's going second, third, and fourth, so on. Of course, every player will also be grabbing one of these player boards. They're double-sided for whatever reason, and they have different countries that you can play as. Now this is all with the expansions as well, so there's a few of these, and I can't remember which ones are only included in the expansion. They each come with a special ability that you can use in the game. You can choose either to play with that or not to play with that. On your first game, you probably don't want to play with those, and then later you may start wanting to do the special powers after that. The game also has a little score tracker where you're going to put one of your little colonists here, and you're going to put them at the 0 spot here. Everyone's going to line up at the 0 spot, and then they're slowly going to score around the board. And you'll have this over to the side. The game also comes with a player order thing for everyone to look at. To be honest, this is really super nice, but you won't really need it because to be honest, I think it's easy. I mean, it may be nice to know, but the game is very easy to play. Now, you're also going to shuffle up the deck of discovery tiles here, and you're going to put one in every country except for the Caribbean, because that's already been discovered. That's one of our starting points in the game. And then you are going to also bring out these little tokens, these little trade good tokens here, and apply them to where the areas indicate. So for instance, in New Spain, it says there's gold there, so you place a gold there, cocoa and Granada, indigo in Brazil, and so on and so forth. So that's how you'll preset the game out. Now each player, if you looked at the player board, and let's say that I'm going to be England here, each player is going to have their player board, and they're going to start with 5 settlers, and these are the little settler pawns here, if you can see that. By the way, all the pawns just look beautiful in the game, and so I would place all 5 of them on that spot of available workers. Now later on in the game, you will always start off with 5 workers. You may have some more workers here, and any additional workers you would just place on the board right there for that round. But how it goes, you'll always start with 5 workers, and then in the initiative order, you're going to place them in various locations across this way. Now, one thing that they have here is on the colonist track, they will tell you, it'll scale how many players you're playing. For 2 players, only spots 1, 2, and 3 are available. 3, 4, 5, and 6, of course, the whole track would be open. But in some versions of the game, the special edition, they give you these little cover-ups that you can do. So let's say I'm playing a 3-player game. I'd take the one that says 3-player, and I'd place it over there, and it would actually show me the available spots there. Now again, that's for the special edition of the game, but it is kind of nice. You don't really need it because you can look on the board here, but that's a nice reminder because there's no more spots to put. So how it's going to happen is each player, starting with the first player and then going around, is going to place their colonists on one of these tracks. Now, let's say that I placed all mine. You can place them on multiple spaces except for the initiative track. You only place one there, and you can place them in various locations around the board. Well, after that, after everyone's placed it, then you will score each one of these tracks, and that's a very important thing. So let me show you about this. First off, the initiative track. If someone placed one here and there are 3 players, not only would they get to go first the next round, let's say white player is like, man, I don't want to go second next round, I want to go first. So he puts his guy here. Well, first off, he's going to get 1 coin for being on first, and of course the next round he will go first, and we'll rearrange this track. Now when we go to solve each track, we do it in descending order, but for this one we're going to leave and not change this track up just yet because tiebreakers are decided by player order. So that's what would happen once you put your pawn here. Now, you could not, let's say, put your pawn, let's say white says, well, I want to be last just so I can get those 3 coins. He could not put his pawn there. You have to play to the leftmost side of the track each time, and this is for any of the tracks there. The next track is the colonist track, and for how many people that you want to put on there, let's say they all put some people on there, for various reasons there. Red puts another one on there. White puts another one. Everything gets decided in that order. Now, right now, the only place to go is the Caribbean because it's the only one that's been discovered. Once someone discovers these tiles and removes them from the game, then those different areas will be available to send colonists there. So this sends colonists to explored areas, which right now would be the Caribbean. So all this, in this example, they'd all go to the Caribbean since that's the only one that hasn't been explored. Now, the first player to get 3 colonists in that area is going to get the little trade good on it. If there is a tie, then no one's going to get it yet, and I'll explain more about what you can do to break ties in the game. But that's where colonists would go, is go to explored areas on the board. Now, another thing that you can do is you can also go for trade goods. And again, determining player order here determines who gets to go first, second, third, or fourth if this track was all filled up. So in this example, red would actually get to pick 2 trade items first, then white would pick 1, and then blue. That's how you would decide who gets what. So let's say I pick this one and this one, white picked that one, and blue got left with sugar. Now, it doesn't really matter which ones you pick this one because they're all different, but you do want to get matches in the game because this is how you're going to also get money in the game. By the way, the numbers on these trade tokens, as you see here, we have a 6, 5, 4, and 3. Wow, that was a really good example there. This tells you how many of these tokens are in the game. So not many cattle, but a lot of sugar in the game. So the reason that makes a big deal is because if you get matches in this game, it's going to give you income at every round. And of course, this is explained in the turn order insert they give you. But for instance, for every match I have, like 3 of a kind, doesn't have to be 3 of the same kind, but if I get 3 of any kind of trade, I'm going to get 1 coin. If I get 3 of the same kind of trade, let's say I had 3 tobacco, it doesn't matter if it's 3 tobacco, 3 gold, or 3 sugar. If it's 3 of the same kind, you're getting $3 every turn. And if you get 4 of a kind of any of these, you're going to get $6 dollars. So the more trade you have, of course, the more income you have coming in. And income is given out in 2 ways. The base game comes with these beautiful plastic coins that are really nice. They really feel good, and they're very sturdy, and they're very nice. They're not the cardboard tokens. Very nice. But of course, the special edition of the game comes with this metal coin. This is some nice clinkety-clinky here, let me tell you. But anyway, either way, you're going to pass out those coins. By the way, silver is 1, gold is 5. And then from down here would be the next track you'd have to determine. Now, whoever has the most people on this track get this ship. And if there's a tie, let's say red, white, and blue all have players there. Well, who would win in a tie? Well, ties are determined by who in player order. So in this example, 3-way tie, red would win because they're the first player. And what these ships are, these ships count for a wild card in the goods race. So maybe I do go ahead and get 2 cattle. Maybe I get this cattle, maybe I can find another cattle, and if I have this ship, I have 3 of a kind, because this can count as anything. And you can move these ships around to get the biggest scoring amount every turn. So for instance, what if I had 3 cattle? Well, I could use this as 4 of a kind, or use this ship to make another 3 of a kind or 4 of a kind, whatever I wanted to. So ships are really nice in the game because they give you a miscellaneous, they count as a miscellaneous trade good. So and of course the person, and you can put infinity amount here. It's whoever has the most there wins it. Down here is the builder section. Of course, in whatever player order there is, you would go ahead and build. So for instance, let's say blue had someone like this. Blue would get to pick first, then white, then blue again, and then red. And these building tokens do different things in the game. For instance, this one called Settlers, it's infinity, so it's for the rest of the game. You'll get a bonus colonist each turn. So instead of starting with 5, you're going to start off with 6. So that's really nice. Some of them are, some of these do cost things. For instance, it even tells you right here, these cost $10 each $14 when we get to the second age, and $20 when we get to the third age. So the price will go up, and of course for the second and third age, you'll be putting those little tokens in there as well. But anyway, let me just show you some more of these tiles. This one has a little lightning by it. That means you use it instantly, and this lets me place 3 colonists in any discovered regions. So if there was other discovered regions, or just this one, I could go ahead, play this, put 3 there, and automatically get that trade good. That would be really nice to get this building as well. And then of course there's other ones, and you would ignore the infinity sign because this means that it's free and it's for one time only. So I don't know why they have the infinity there. This means it's free. This is a mistake here. But anyway, you pick this one and you immediately take $5. So it doesn't cost you anything because of this. No money is needed. That's what the X of the money means. And so if you just needed some quick cash, you could take this one for free. Now, speaking of money, you're actually going to start with different amounts determining the player order. For instance, like the first player would get $10, second player would get $11, third player would get $12, and so on and so forth. So that determines how much money you have to start the game with. And then, of course, whatever money you can make in trades and in other ways, which I'll explain about later, determines your amount of income that you're getting every round. Now the next one is this discovery box, and again you can put as many people here, it says at a time, and if you want to at the end of the turn you can choose to keep your people here, because you're still going to, regardless of how many colonists are up here, you're still going to start the next game with 5 more colonists on your player board. So you could leave them there and help them build up. Now the reason you want to do that, because if you have a lot of these and you're moving over, you can just choose to discover one of the islands. It has to be something connected to another one. So from the Caribbean, I can discover Florida, New Spain, or New Granada. And so let's say the blue player just felt risky. He said, you know what, I'm going to do it. So he has 2 and he moves over here. What they're going to do is you're going to flip over this token and it's going to say how many people you needed. He needed 3. Oh no, 1 more and he would have won. You have to have at least that amount or more. Now regardless of whether you have that amount or more or not, these people will go back, they'll go out of the game and get put back into your regular player pile. But at least you discovered it. And when you discovered it, you get bonus victory points at the end of the game. So that's really good. Also, you get victory points if you can bring soldiers along, and these are what soldiers look like. So if the blue player had actually brought a soldier along, they actually would have won this one, and they would have gotten money times the amount of soldiers they had plus 1. So in this example, I only had 1 soldier, so that's 3 plus 1 is 4. If I'd had 2 soldiers, that'd have been 3 times 2, which is 6, plus 1 is 7. So the more soldiers you bring to discover the places with, you will always get more money as well. Now, if I failed this, there are 2 versions, 2 rules in the game that you can do. One is you leave it open now that everyone can see it. The second one, well I should say there's 3. The second one is you look at it and determine if you can beat it. If not, you put it down. So no one else will know, but you know because at least you went there. And the third one, which is what I like to do, is they say just disregard it and pull another one off the stack. But either way, either one of those rules you can do when discovering new land. Now again, white and red player may not want to go out because they want to hold up on this. These discovery tiles can have 1 through 6 even at a time. And if that was the case, they may feel like, no, I want to build up just to get a few more before I take a risk and start exploring. Now, during the end of the game, you may have all these tiles already explored. Well, then what would be the point to going to discovery anymore? Well, from that point on, the game gives you a deck of cards that you can use for extra discoveries. And I mean, you won't get any new land, but at least you could get maybe victory points and a lot more money. So the game still lets you make discoveries relevant, even though maybe all the players have discovered all the land. You can still run through these cards as well, and that's plenty for the game. Now here below, if you place a colonist in any one of these areas, you will actually get that worker, and the extra worker, and you'll get to use it for the next round. This is where I get to talk about all the extra workers that we have in the game. So the first one is the missionary. This is what the missionary looks like, and he is good on when you send him to the colonist dock, when he's going to colonize nations, because he's actually going to convert another person as he goes there. For instance, if I put my missionary here and then I moved him over the Caribbean, well, he would convert one of the native tribesmen and make them a colonist. So you'd actually get to place a colonist from your pool and put him there. This lets you populate different areas, which comes in handy when scoring. Because at the end of every age, you're going to score each one of the areas and see who has the most colonists there. If you have the most colonists there, you will get 6 victory points. If you have the second most colonists there, you will get 2. Now, what if there is a tie for second place? As you see, red has the most, he would get 6 points. And these two, would they get split? No, they would get nothing. Now, what if there was a tie for first place? If there's a tie for first place, then they would split the winning. So each player, red and blue, would each get 3 points each, and second place would get nothing. So that's how you determine how ties go in the game when you're scoring the end of each round. Like I said, in the end of round 3, 6, and 8, you'll be doing that type of scoring. So that's why it's important to have missionaries out there, because you can get more colonists on the board that way. The next one is the merchant. And the merchant is really nice. He's going to help you for a lot of little reasons. For instance, if you send a merchant out on the colonist deck and he comes here, you're automatically going to get 5 coins from the bank when he lands out. So merchants will give you extra money in the game. Merchants can also be played here on the merchant shipping tile, and they can count as 2 pawns. So for instance, if blue had 2 people up here and I had 1, but I played my merchant, I would actually be winning 3-2 because my merchant counts as 2. And that's what merchants can do. They're really nice in the game to get you advantages like that. The next one is the soldier. Soldiers are good for several different reasons here. With a soldier, you can actually, as I talked about earlier, get bonus points on discovered tiles. And also with soldiers, it'll let you go to war. Now, I'm going to skip ahead just real briefly here and show you this warfare track. If I placed a guy here, and I had a soldier, let's say, in the Caribbean, and white was tied with me for the most, and we're about to score this round. I've only got one more. This is the end of round 3, and so I definitely want to get those 6 points. I don't want to split it with white. So what I do is I place one of my colonists here, and I can go to battle against someone. And as long as you have a soldier in your colony, you can go to battle. And so you get to shoot one of the other players' pawns. So in this case, I would take out this one. If there were multiple ones, like maybe he had a merchant or a builder or a missionary or someone else there, I could shoot that person instead, but I would tell him who I was shooting, and he'd remove him from the board. Well, now I don't have to split the 6 points with him. Now I get all 6. That's the reason you'd want to go to battle with someone. You can actually pay 10 coins and go to war with someone. And what that means is wherever, if I choose to go to war with white, that means wherever I have soldiers and white colonists are at, I can go to war with them across the board. And that's something you may want to do at the end of the round, especially as it gets further down the track here, and maybe you're tied with a few people here, and you don't want to get maybe you're tied for second. You at least want to get 2 points instead of none, and so you pay $10, go to war with everyone of that one color. You can't go to war with double people unless you had 2 people on this track and you wanted to go to war with each one. That would kind of be suicidal. But that's what soldiers do. They let you go to war. Now, of course, if you have a soldier in your colony and they go to battle against you, you may also shoot back at them. So that soldier can also shoot back if war is activated. But that's what soldiers can do in the game. Now, the next one is captains. If you get a captain, you have a few good things happening for you. The captain is someone who also, on the merchant shipping, he will also count for 2. So in this case, I would win because I got top initiative there. Also, captains are always good to go on discoveries with, because whenever you have a captain, he counts for 2 men instead of 1. So captains are always good for discoveries as well. So here and here is really where you want to play them. That's where they get the most benefit, bang for your buck. Now, do I have to play captains just here or here? No, I can put a captain here in the building section. I can put him to collect goods. I can put him here to be a colonist. I can put him on the initiative track. That would be kind of wasteful, but you can put these pawns anywhere. They just benefit you more on certain tracks. And the last one here is the builder. The builder is good for a few reasons in the game. First off, if you're going to buy one of these little buildings here, he will give you a minus $5 off of the price. So if it's 10, 14, or 20, for him, it would be 5, 9, and 15 if you were buying with a builder. So they give you special discounts on buildings. Another thing builders do is if you place them in a colony, every round, 3rd, 6th, and 8th round, round that you get to score those colonists, you actually get, this colonist gives you extra victory points in the game. So if you were number 1, he gets 4 extra victory points for as many builders as there are on your colony. So if I had 1 colonist here, and let's say 1 less soldier, and this guy had 1 less one, then I would get 6 plus 4 because I had a builder. I would get 10 victory points that round, in every round as long as I have the lead. If I had 2 builders there, I would get another additional 8 points on top of my 6. So you see, builders can really help you get victory points in the game. Now, if you win second place, they count as an additional 2 in that case, if you were second. But still, that's a lot more extra victory points you wouldn't have. So they're really good at victory points in building. And then finally, you have the $5 spot here. If all of these spaces are full and you really wanted to get another worker, you could place it here, pay $5, 5 coins here, and buy any one of these that you wanted. And of course, you couldn't utilize these until the next round. And remember what I said, any additional workers would go up here in the player area for available workers for the next round, along with your 5 colonists. Now, I've talked about this, I've talked about warfare, then we get to player order. From there, we look back up at our initiative track, and let's say white wanted to be first, blue was second. No, let's say white wanted to be first, okay? Well, white would go first, but what about blue and red? It wouldn't matter. Red would slip down to second. They go by default because they were first last round, and white would go first. If blue had placed there, would red have to place there to be third? No, he would automatically get bumped down to third, and blue would go second. So that's where you would determine it. Then you would wipe out, well, you'd be taking off these people as you resolved each one of the actions here, but then you'd finally take off the initiative people. The only people that are allowed to stay are anyone that you held in the discovery region here. They could stay for the next round. What you would do, though, is everyone would build back up to 5 colonists on their board, and the round would start again, this time with white going first. And as I said, that's what you're going to do for each round. With the 3rd, 6th, and 8th round, you're going to be scoring. And whoever has, then you're going to add up all the points at the end of the game. Of course, whoever has the most victory points wins. Final thoughts. What do I think about the game? Yeah, this is how thick it is. Look. It's a big box. There is a lot in this game. This is an incredible game. First off, I love Eagle Gryphon Games. Conquest of the Empire, Blood Feud in New York, those are some of my favorite games from them. I haven't gotten to play many. Well, I played a few at BGG, kind of wasn't impressed with. But then I'd heard about this one. I was like, well, I got to check this out. And then when it came in, it was that thick. And it's such a big box. And this is quality. This is quality. The packaging is quality. The insert is actually the best insert for the game I've ever seen for any game. The pieces are super nice. Forget even getting the gold and silver metal coins. The regular plastic pieces are just as fine too. I'll get to this later on, but the game is very well produced. I mean, those boards are really nice too. Oh, there's so much to love about this game. Worker placement, really nice. Very, very simple. In fact, we each gave out the turn order, the player, the order of the game, and none of us looked at it. The first time we played it. It was super easy. Now, we still haven't played with the special abilities for each one because I'm not really sure. It seems a few of them seems imbalanced. Some you're much stronger than other countries, depending on your special ability. So we're not playing with those yet, and I don't think you ever need to enjoy the game. You could, and maybe one day we will play with the special abilities, because usually in other games that we've played, using the special ability we always love. But this one I've held off on it just because I'm teaching the game, but also I think it just basically evens the playing field. There are a million ways you can win this game. There are a million ways. You never have enough players to do everything you want to, and the game just progresses differently depending on how many people you have. The more people, folks, the more chaotic it's going to be, and that is great. That is a great thing. With less people, the first time I played was with 3. You can have a runaway leader. If someone knows what they're doing, they can really just smash up. I'm sure you can have a runaway leader on any scale, but I would imagine with less people, because there's more choices on the board for you, and you can get a lot accomplished. Whereas if you're playing 6, you'll be lucky to get a few things done in it at a time. But it is a really spectacular game. Do not let its massiveness oh man, that looks so confusing, Matt. I swear to you, after you play this game into the first round, you've got it. You have got it. And for a game to be this massive and this epic and yet so easy to teach, and so easy to play is just a phenomenal job by Eagle Gryphon Games. Honestly, this is one of their nicest. Each time I play this game, it grows on me. It's moving up my list of favorite games to play. I've really enjoyed the game. In fact, I didn't show you this, but on the back side of the board is another whole different country and a whole different board game you want to play. If you're tired of playing, you know, the Americas, you can play, I think it's Asia, Middle East Asia or whatever, and it's incredible too. And there's different goods you can get. Now, if you have the base game, you have to buy the expansion for it. If you get the super duper deluxe version, it'll come with all that, the extra buildings and the extra trade goods where you can play the other side of the board. That's kind of cheap when you think about it. Oh, here's the other side we'll give you on the base game, but if you want to play that other side, you got to buy our expansion. Getting the deluxe version is where to go with this. Speaking of the deluxe version, you may be paying a pretty penny for this game. I won't lie, you are paying a pretty penny for this game. This is one of those $100 plus games. You know, $150, $200, depending on where you get it at. If you get it new or used, it's going to run you a lot of money. Is it worth it? I think absolutely so. I mean, it's going to cost you maybe part of a big chunk of your paycheck. But this is a game that we are definitely going to play a lot in my board game group. This is a game that everyone can love, easy to learn. My nephews can get this game easily as well. And it's a game that's just extremely fun. I think there's so much replayability in this game. I cannot talk good enough about this game. This game used to be called Age of Empires. So if it looks familiar, computer gamers, this is the Age of Empires game. I think they rethemed it to call it Empire's Age of Discovery. I don't know much about the history. Maybe I should have studied before I did this review, but I was just super excited when it came in. Of course, seeing how huge it was, and then secondly, seeing how it all came together. So definitely a great game, definitely worth your time. All right, gamers, that's all the time for now. Until next time, game on.